Hi, this is Mary Hills. It's been a while since I've been live, um, but I wanted to come live because there was a lot of great discussions on in the Meeting the Real You group about sabotaging, and I talk a lot about Neville Goddard um, all the time because when I came across him like 8 months ago or almost a year, it changed my life. And it's just been an incredible journey. But it's interesting to note about when you start to use your imagination in a way that you're creating the life that you truly desire, not creating what you don't want. I mean, and creating what you don't want. It's a big difference. It makes a big difference. Once you get the idea that your imagination is what creates your reality, you kind of you kind of start watching how your mind works and paying attention to your inner conversations and all that. And then things start moving along. You start to go, oh, is that who I am? No. Is that who I really am? No. Okay. And you can start shifting things around and having your, imagination actually creating what you really truly desire. And once that starts happening, it's funny to see also watching your, your states throughout the day that Neville Goddard talks about. I think and what he's talking about is, there's a mentor, that I bought a lot of his programs. So I'm not even sure that's the right word to use, but there's a guy that I bought a lot of his programs, and he teaches Neville Goddard, and he has a lot of he talks a lot about the state of consciousness that we are in through the day. For instance, he's a loving teacher. He's a loving puppy dog dad, and he's a loving husband. So these are states of consciousness. And when you delve more into your states of consciousness, it's good to have, three states. One thing that I did notice a little while ago is that I have been in a constant war state for my whole life. And that's why I brought up the topic of sabotaging, because it's funny, once you start paying attention to your imagination and you start creating the life that you truly desire, sometimes things will be going along really great. And I think sometimes we can't handle the good and, the good days, the good feelings that we, on some level, we, start to sabotage it. And the quicker that you get to the thoughts and behaviors that, is bumping you out of your states of consciousness back into your old states. Like, I have a war state that I've lived in pretty much all my life, and one of my favorite states for me of consciousness is loving Mary state, and that just entails everything. I'm just loving myself. I'm loving the world, and I'm loving my life. I'm just totally in love with it. And then I get bumped back into my war state, which I've been in the majority of my life. And that's all I knew from a little girl, and I thought that was a normal way to live. Anyways, it's funny I wanted to see if anybody was going to come live, because there was a bunch of ladies on here, Heather and Carrie and Kitty, and we were all talking about the sabotage state, and Cheryl and Lisa, and I just thought it was a wonderful topic to bring up. I am going to be coming live again tomorrow night. I'm going to try to, get back into the habit of doing live at 5. I think it's fun. I think it works out on the East Coast. It works out well. I think you're still 3 hours behind on the West Coast, so it's more like 2 o'clock. So, but 6 o'clock is my limit. I'm at my best in the morning, and I just wanted to get back on here. I haven't done this in a while, and I wanted to see if anybody was coming live with me to have some fun. And it's funny how that camera just lit up like a Christmas tree. Sometimes these things have a mind of their own. And I'm using the Be Live program I have a MacBook, and that works real well. Where Facebook, you can only use your phone for their live feeds. So I don't know who's out there. I'm talking about sabotage. We were talking about that. A bunch of the ladies had gotten on here before. We were talking about sabotaging when things are really going good for us. We don't tend to know how to handle the good stuff, the good feelings. And then we go into these subtle ways of sabotaging all of that. But I told you I was going to come live. Hi, Darlene. It's been a while. I don't know what you're doing on here, but it's great to see you. I haven't been on in months. And I was posting in the Facebook group about sabotaging. And as you well know, if you've been in the group, I've been talking more and more I'm still talking about Neville. But this time I'm talking about, your states of consciousness. And I realized the last couple of months that I've been in a worse state of consciousness my whole life. I thought that that's the way life is supposed to be. Constantly at war with myself. I'm at war with people, places, and things. I'm at war all the time. And I have been able to see, especially the last month or so, last 6 weeks, a state called Loving Mary state. And that's just where, everything. I love the world. I love myself, and I'm imagining the best for myself. And I was talking earlier this week about sabotaging, that we can only handle so much good stuff. What do you think about that, darling? I know you're just like me, so I know you do. You do just like me. I'm going to keep on trying to come live at 5 again and just get back into, having some fun and talking to you ladies, because what I've learned is incredible. What's happened in my life is incredible. But I am in, I get into the Loving Mary state and everything. And that's from, using my imagination, and doing what I call my feel it real sessions, morning, noon, and night, for what I truly desire. And that's a successful business, wealth consciousness, eventually have somebody new, somebody in my life. And obviously I want to be healthier, and back to my ideal weight. These are all my desires. And so I imagine, an end scene, if you will, that indicates that, I have these. And so anyways, I've been in the Loving Mary state. It's wonderful to be there, but I keep on, a guy that I study with calls it bumping back into your worst state, because if you've been at war your whole life and you think that that's normal, because society and, our parents in our childhood have taught us this, call it live. I know that's what I did before, so I'm going to do it again. I like that. Even though, what time is it on the West Coast? Is it 2:00 though? So that kind of bumps you guys out, but especially ladies that work. But this is a good time for me, because if I go much later than that, my brain just starts to shut down, because I'm a morning person. So I'd like to come live at 5. That works really well for me. But I talk about Neville Goddard again, as I always do. And we were talking about sabotage. We don't know what it's like to feel good. So we create and we look around for drama and trauma. And we do this sometimes not even on a conscious level to knock us out. And lots of ladies in here were talking a lot about the sabotage, and that they wanted to learn more about it. So I figured it was about time for me to get live. And I always tell people to go. There's lots of information out there about Neville. There's lots of free information out there about Neville. I think there's one called freeneville.com, and you can start reading his books, because I think that his teachings are still on the ball. I mean, I kind of got lax here a little while for a few months there, and I went back into my old ways. But all along, I kept on reading Neville, and just knowing that I know that he's right on, and that we are the operant power in our lives, and that our imagination does, in fact, create reality. I've seen it happen time and time again. Just the little things that I play with just to see and test it, just to see, and it happens, and I go, wait a minute, over and over again. But here, a lot of these ladies on here were talking about them doing the same thing. I'm keep telling them your imagination creates your reality, and they again are talking about their subconscious, reverting them back to their old ways of thinking and being. But I think once you're starting on this journey, some people just get it right off the top. I think other people have other different baggages. And yeah, and I think Neville Goddard's teachings are the way, and this is what I want to teach, and this is just what I'm trying to combine the pet care business and add that in as well. And I've combined the two websites, and I'm trying to combine the groups. I mean, people that don't have pets, not a big deal, but I want to be able to, because there's a lot of pet issues out there, and I'm finding that pet issues are human issues. So if you could get to the human and get them to realize who they really are, and that they're the one that's causing all of this stuff. I have been imagining my new business opportunities coming into my life, because I've been doing focusing on wealth consciousness, and a brand new business came in as well. But once you get your mind focused on like a wealth consciousness, or you want to be successful, financially secure, you want a better marriage, you want to be happier in your marriage, you want to stay in your marriage, you love your husband, then that's a great time to imagine lovingly for him. Not to say they're not schmucks, but to say, just to imagine lovingly for him. Imagine lovingly for for other people is a huge, makes a huge difference in your life. You will notice unbelievable results with different people. But especially lots of friends of mine around here, I just go, I'm just going to imagine for you. And I just keep on things just keep on happening over and over again. So imagining lovely, especially if you're in a marriage, is a great thing to, do. And I got a call from a lady that I was in junior high with. And, she's in a pretty, she has depression issues, anxiety, and not wanting to live kind of issues, marriage issues, financial issues, the whole ball of wax. And I keep on telling her that, we've been taught that God is outside of ourselves, but he's really not. He's inside of us. And that's our imagination. That's really our imagination. And our imagination is, if you ever get a chance and you get into a quiet space and you're able to close your eyes, and you go into what's called, you don't feel your body, you're just formless and expansive. And you just sit there and be silent. And that's the best time to commune with God. And that's your imagination. And then that's a great time to add in what you desire. You want a happy marriage. I know, Darlene, you were talking about, I don't know if you're still not working or whatever, but I know you had some issues with your work. I'm so glad to be here. You're always my biggest fan. I think it's funny. So how you doing, Darlene? Any questions anything you want to say? Anything I could talk about? It's great to see you here. I am going to be live. If I'm going to try to do this, I'm going to make sure I do this every day, because I think this would be fun. And as I continue, I think it's going to get better and better. And I think my biggest issue is, my hair is not right. I don't got the right clothes. It doesn't look right. And I'm to a point where, I can't really let that deter me and screw it. Because it's not about the messenger. It's about the message. And I just want to, again, get people to realize how powerful they are. We're so taught to be powerless. It's incredible. And I'm going to come back here and keep on talking about the power that you have inside of you. And, Darlene, you already know when we were talking before about trying to find out how your mind works. Let's say, you read his stuff and you get it like that, which some people do. But as the older you get, I think sometimes, and maybe this is just something that I think, if you're so used to life being hard, then you think everything's hard. So you're imagining everything being hard. Sometimes I have a hard time, going into my Feel It Real sessions at night and morning and afternoon, where I'm trying to, imagine a scene that would indicate that I have been, that I'm financially secure, and I'm free, and all of that stuff. There's a couple different scenes that I play around with, and that I'm healthy and my ideal weight. So I have some scenes, but sometimes I think when you tell yourself that it's hard, then it is hard. If you tell yourself if I'm going to imagine what easy feels like, then you will create easy. And so I am trying to create more easy, more and more and more. I'm trying to go into these sessions and I'm trying to force myself, and that doesn't work. It doesn't happen that way. It happens naturally. You just go into that state and you just start to plant your seeds. I imagine, I was telling you before, I see in my sister or actually what's called a congratulatory conversation. She says, Mary, see, for me, this indicates success is, I knew you were going to be financially secure, and we're clinking, champagne glasses, or my best friend, we're doing high fives, congratulatory conversations work very well for me. But, so what's going on with you, Darlene? Anything going on with you? A lot of people, some people, when we were talking about sabotage, this lady was talking about her subconscious destroys any progress we make. That way, you're separating your subconscious from your conscious, and you're separating it, and you're still having an outside source as being the cause of your problems. We are 100% responsible for everything that's going on in our lives. We're like a director, a producer, an editor, we're the whole thing. We got the script, we have the play, and we all have these different, we have these different roles that we have people playing. We're the operant power. We're the ones that make everything happen. Everything that's outside of ourselves is definitely created from within. I've seen it time and time again. I don't know why this stupid camera going light and dark, light and dark. Looks like I got a good tan anyways. There it goes. Okay, maybe I gotta go back. But my eyeglasses are crooked. Once you start to own that you are the operant power, and you start, playing around with just playing, because I tend to get serious with things, but play around with how your mind works and go, oh my God, what am I saying? What's my inner conversation? What story am I telling? Does that line up with what I want to create? No, then you can revise it right then and there and tell a different story. Which creates a different future for it. I know I talked a lot about this before, but I'm telling you, I'm seeing some amazing stuff, and the opportunities are coming my way. And I just wanted to come live again. I don't know if you're still on there, Darlene, but I'm going to be live at 5 again tomorrow. And tell me if you like this. This is that Be Live app on my MacBook, and sometimes I like to use my phone, but I can only find one of those holders that hold it horizontal, and I like it vertical. I like the picture of me when it's vertical, not horizontal. Because so I have not yet found a holder that will hold it vertically instead of horizontally. So let me know if you like this, the Be Live app. And maybe tomorrow I'll play around with the Facebook one, and I'm going to be live at 5 again. And I'm going to come up with a different topic, and I'm going to post about what we're going to talk about. So you will talk about sabotage even more, because there's a lot of ladies on here that obviously that are sabotaging themselves. They started smoking weed and those vapor pen things. I am an addictive personality. I know all about that. I tend to emotionally eat, or I watch TV. Too much TV to escape my world. And then I go, you idiot, you're trying to escape your world. You're the one that created it. So see, once you start to play with that stuff, you go, you know what? I'm not playing that anymore. I'm not playing that way anymore. So you can revise and imagine differently. And I'm going to tell you, your life is going to dramatically change, but you have to be you're responsible for the way everything is. But I have fun coming on here live, and I'm glad to see a couple comments. I'm glad to see you here, Darlene. And let me know what you thought about this, because I think it just posts automatically to the group. And then I think you can, put comments in it. Tell me if any of this made any sense, or if I was full of shit. Anyways, I'm going to get off, and I'm going to come back again live at 5 tomorrow. And I'm going to post it in the group live at 5, and a topic. We can get together on here. I'm going to use the actual live on the Facebook page instead of this. And you ladies have a good evening, and thank you for showing up, Darlene, and hope to see more of you tomorrow. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.